Hi, everybody. I am Agustín Ibáñez. I am a neuroscientist, the director of the Latin American Brain Health Institute, also associate researcher to the Trinity College Dublin, and also senior Atlantic fellow of the Global Brain Health Institute. My topic is a very wide topic that we want to talk about, covering the neurocognitive assessment in frontotemporal dementia versus other neurodegenerative conditions, particularly Alzheimer's disease, and how these research areas can boost the diagnosis, prognosis, characterization of different neurodegenerative disease, and also being combined with other potential biomarkers and computational approach to have a better multimodal characterization of these very complex diseases. So the frontotemporal dementia, first of all, is an umbrella term covering so many different conditions. And this is a disease that starts early than the typical Alzheimer's disease and present a more heterogeneous profile. So in Alzheimer's disease, usually you have memory problems starting on, and it's relatively easy to classify the syndrome in comparison with frontotemporal dementia. So in frontotemporal dementia, that the common core is a specific neurodegeneration of frontotemporal insular region of the brain in comparison with more temporal posterior brain areas in early Alzheimer's disease. And usually it's a condition that have a different cognitive change than Alzheimer's disease. So we have like the so-called behavioral variant of frontotemporal dementia, and then we have another subset of variants associated to progressive subclinical palsy or amyotrophic lateral sclerosis. The most famous and most frequent version is the behavioral variant frontotemporal dementia that is characterized by changes, subtle changes in personality and social cognition, and especially in kind of lack of empathy and this kind of cooperative or social decision-making behavior. Perhaps the main problem for FTD characterization is heterogeneity. In Alzheimer's disease, it's relatively easy to find connections between different levels of analysis, from proteinopathies at the basic analysis, or then a specific depositation of beta amyloids and tau, and then you have a more or less specific brain regions like the hippocampus, retrospinal cortex, temporoposterior regions, and then regarding cognitive, in despite of huge variability that you already can find in Alzheimer's disease, you always will find memory deficits. But in frontotemporal dementia, all of this is more complex. So they are not simple linear associations and systematic and universal association between proteinopathies and phenotyping and the phenotype of this condition, even when, of course, you can find strong association between different tauopathies. And you can also have like genetic presentations of frontotemporal dementia linked to the TPD43, TARBP, MAP, and other mutations. But then when you look at the cognitive levels, you realize how variable is this condition. I am really, really interested in the most frequent version, which is the behavioral variant of frontotemporal dementia, or BBFTD. And in BBFTD, it's very difficult to characterize, first of all, because you have to characterize social interaction, and we don't have good tests for social interaction. Cognitive neuroscience and cognitive psychology has been more focused in classical cognitive aspects, like working memory, attention, intelligence, but social cognition domains like empathy, social decision-making, moral cognition, moral judgment, interoceptive accuracy or metacognition are processes that are less understood, probably because they are more complex and they involve a more distributed set of brain regions. So this is the kind of sensitive task that we are starting to develop to identify early paths of a specific deficit in this condition.